Afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, August 20, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We've been having, some of you might have noticed, we've been having, it almost sounds like drum cymbals. You know how that sounds, that in the background when I am not speaking in the meditation. So sometimes these numbers that I get decay. They get too much activity on them and they start having issues. So I'm looking into, I'll get another, for me, it's, you guys are fine. You won't have to change any numbers or anything. But I'll have to get another trunk number that doesn't have as much activity, that won't have these issues, because I've been checking how that noise could come in when everybody is locked into mute and there's no other host on the line. The only way I can figure it out is that the line that I use to connect in is degraded and it's got interference coming in. It's about the only thing I can think of. So we'll see what happens on this call, and then I'm going to work on getting another alternate number and see if that rectifies it, fixes it. Either way, we will get it resolved. For so long on this planet with this civilization, and we're talking several millennia, you're talking tens of thousands, millions of years, believe it or not, that it's interesting that we have been taught and programmed on a continual basis by a handful of lower dark matter frequencies, indirectly and directly, to believe that everything that we've been taught to believe is false. Now, when you look at this, you wonder, why would that be? Why would any beings want this civilization to be living a falseness, a lie, living a lie, believing in different directions? There's only one response or answer to that, and it means that there's a great fear amongst the lower dark matter frequencies. The fear is that, and this is not just a light fear, it's a deep-seated fear amongst the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. And that fear is that we as gods within these bodies and the body itself will discover who and what we really are. And throughout the ages, these lower dark matter frequencies have done everything possible to short-circuit that communion, that inevitability. It's inevitability, because they're part of the same. Okay? Now, they don't understand that or comprehend it or even believe it. They believe that they're separate. So doesn't it make sense that they create a separate atmosphere, separation, for the civilization, so it cannot find out or discover who and what it really is? And the ego mind, of course, has been put there for us to discover who and what we are by mastering the ego mind and mastering our thoughts. You can kind of get a sense through the heart mind where we're at, where some of us are at, I'll say that. Not all of us. Some, we have kind of a staggered approach or comprehension in this transition, this massive evolution. Some of us are in the massive evolution. Others are like depinned from it. They stay in the lower frequencies. And it most likely will take them several lifetimes to get to awareness. Now, one might say, well, does that mean I've had, I was asleep like they are right now? Absolutely. But see, some of us have progressed at a much quicker pace than the ones that are still underwater, so to speak, holding their breath. Eventually, they're going to have to come up with air, and that will basically move them into some form of awareness with themselves, and then the rest, they'll take one step in front of the other for the discovery. Now, those of us who know through the heart-mind that we know all this distraction, you know what I mean? We know it. We don't guess it. We feel it. We feel the distraction. And maybe some of us aren't aware on how much we have progressed, right? Because, of course, the ego mind is still there. And our bringing up or programming is still there. So from time to time, we digress. We'll go back into it. Not like we do it on purpose. We just slip in there depending on what's going on with our lives. Now, we have this knowing, which is great because that brings us halfway there. Just knowing, just being able to discuss it with ourselves to say, well, then I know this is contrived and engineered, structured to keep us from discovering who and what we really are. That's what it's about. Now, when you look throughout the ages and you see through the heart-mind the things that have been put into place, and they have been put into place, physically, memory-wise, but many things have been illusionized to trick us into believing that this is the way life is. You've heard that. We've all heard that many times. We probably used it ourselves in this lifetime more than once. Well, that's just the way life is. You either take it or leave it. Period. That's just the way life is. But it isn't. It isn't. And there are those of us on this planet that have discovered that. And it's not, it isn't a negative, but it is a discovery along our evolutionary paths to move more and more and more into spirituality. Are the gods that we are within these bodies part of the pure consciousness, the collective consciousness, which is all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever? We're all part of that. Intimately so. Are we creating this scenario, so to speak? Is it our timing or structure now to have part of the civilization ascend, evolve? Okay. Now you're noticing that there are things that we're watching, because we're all watchers. We don't judge. That's the ego mind. So we watch things and we see, and we're able to clarify, differentiate on what we're watching and seeing. And this massive evolutionary spiritual jump in our existence, we're in full swing. Now, you're going to see things, hear things, watch things. They're going to come out of the woodwork. People claiming this and claiming that they're plugged into this and that. And this is, remember something, there is a essence of bicameralism on this planet. It's really a good idea to know exactly what bicameralism is, because the majority of people on this planet are in a bicameral mode. That's a fact. It's not hearsay. It's not made up. That's factual. Well, how can we prove that? I've used this analogy several times, and it is 5.7 billion people on this planet took a vaccine that they knew nothing about. That's bicameralism. Okay? People wearing masks is bicameralism. A bicameral needs to be led, directed. Decisions must be made up for them. The decisions must be made for them. And that's why these governments on this planet were implemented to rule over the bicameral population. See how easy it is? That's how easy it is. It's not difficult to manipulate a civilization that the majority is in a bicameral mode. It's like taking candy from a baby. But this discovery is also empowering because there are those of us who are not bicameral. If you remember, I talked about this a few years back, that about 3,000 or so odd years ago, the civilization made an evolutionary step and became conscious. Before that, they weren't. They weren't consciously aware of anything. And then as time went by, everybody stayed in the bicameral mode, except a few. A few, and these were called what? The black sheep. Now, just like Yasugi Khan, Jesus, he was conscious. He was one that was aware that he was conscious. And he discovered really who and what he was in that body. He wasn't the body. He knew that. Now you imagine this, right? And this is similar to now. For many of us who are awake and aware to a certain extent, you communicate with others because you care, right? And you want to help them. But they're asleep. And their focus is basically what they believe is what they believe and all there is to it, and you're not going to make them believe any other way. Okay, that's fine. You know, that's their direction. So what's happening, really, on this planet right now? We're witnessing some of us evolving into a high spiritual essence base. And then there's the others that just aren't ready. It's kind of nice because we can compare, say. We're reminded that at one time we were there, where they're at, okay? So we kind of can comprehend why they respond the way they do, they view things the way they do. It does not make them any less powerful or different than us at all. They still have a God in the body. But due to programming, intensive programming, emotionalities, they're locked in. Well, what about those who are aware to a certain extent? They'll walk into New Earth because they continually increase their vibrational frequency. See? Now, the others could do that very simple and easily, but they're still locked in with the ego mind. They still live in yesterday and tomorrow, like we've done. Okay? None of us are exempt. See, it's just that some of us awaken faster than others. It's not like we're in a race, because we're not. And it's not like we're rushing to get somewhere, because we're not. But that's the only way we evolve into spirituality. There are things coming out now that, hey, you're going to be like that. It's all going to be done for you. You're going to be great. Everything's going to come online. You aren't going to have to lift a finger. You're not going to learn anything. You're just going to, it's just going to happen. Right? And this is where you move from the heart-mind, okay, you're in the heart-mind, so that you watch this stuff and you know that it's coming from the ego-mind. Because it is. It's coming from the ego-mind. And, you know, since the majority of the people on this planet are bicameral, you can see why certain things, to you, you're going, I better get some more popcorn. This is going to be a goodie. Right? But to them, it's real. This is real to them. This isn't a joke or anything. This isn't make-believe. They believe this is real. See, you can, by watching, we see how delicate things are. And we begin to comprehend why things are moving the way they are. And it's very easy for many to step into the hole, that mucky hole. They're trying to get out, get their leg out because it's like cemented in. But as we become more aware, we see the hole and say, no, I'm going to go around that hole. I'm not going to step in it again. And we have this, we're tremendously powerful beings. This is another reason why we've had all of these alternative routes, right, on our evolution with spirituality. And we've had all these for thousands and thousands of lifetimes. And then some of us begin to realize that, hey, wait a minute, this is ego-mind stuff, and I'm not interested in engaging the ego-mind. I love my ego-mind, but it's not in charge here. I'm in charge. The God that I am is in charge. So what do you do with something that's highly insecure? I mean, probably the most insecure thing you'll ever come across. The ego-mind. What do you do with that? How do you master the ego-mind? You don't engage it, number one. That's why through these meditations, you go into the meditation, you don't engage it. You just leave it alone. You leave the mind and ego alone. When you go into meditation, you're focused on the breath rising and falling, relaxing into the body, being into a completely relaxed state, as still as a statue. That's when you leave the ego mind alone. It doesn't disappear, it's there, but you're not engaging it. And it's highly insecure. It's never satisfied. It wants something, it has it, it wants and 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 wants, and it never ends. It's always wanting something. That's super insecurity. How do you afford something, where it becomes secure and not haphazard and moves into peacefulness? Well, you love it. You shower it, saturate the ego mind with love. You know what it is. I don't believe that anybody on this planet, well, I would say the majority of us know what the ego mind is. To a certain extent. We know what it is. And how do you master something if you don't know what it is? You're not going to master it if you don't know what it is. So, you master it. How do you do that? Leaving it alone. It's like, let's just say that you're walking along, doing your own thing, and then something comes in. Could be another being. The reason I use being is because person is not real. It's a person. A person is a mask. If you look up the definition of a person, you'll find out why we should not be using the word person. We should be using, but see, that's more the programming. But use being. What do we do in these meditations? We just be. We're beings. And everything is a being that Pleiadians, Sirians, Arcturians, Andromedans, all beings. And what we do, like all of us right now doing this massive evolutionary move into high spirituality, because we intend it. And when we look at the ego mind, we know that the ego mind doesn't care to have us go there. It'd rather have us under its control mechanisms forever. Because every time we enter a body, sooner or later the ego mind is there. And part of our spiritual evolution is to master that and to master our thoughts. You master the ego mind, you're going to master your thoughts. An ego mind thought comes in, something excites it, okay? It could be somebody bragging about something and this and that constantly, and you get this, you know, I'm going to say this or I'm going to say that. That's ego mind, okay? Or we go out in the parking lot, right? You have a new vehicle and it's scratched or it's dented. Someone opened their car door and banged it. And before that, you were fine. You were just kind of floating along. But then for some reason, you look at that and you get irritated. And it shifts your whole energetic field around your body. It shifts everything. You ever had it where something happens in the beginning, like let's say you start your day and everything's fine, then something takes place, whatever big, could be trivial. And it's like all of a sudden you've got cement galoshes on and you start sinking lower and lower, and more of the lower vibrational frequencies come in, and you go, man, what a day this has been. Haven't you done that? And you go, what the heck happened? I mean, I got up this morning, everything was fine. And then the ding in the door and this, and then everything just kind of built up. And then you say, I'm glad this day is over. I really don't care to have another day like that. And then again, something happens later on in another day, and you fall into it. Now, when you begin to master the ego mind, you would look at that ding and say, I'll fix it or get it fixed. No big deal. And it's gone. You don't go there with it, right? You're not ignoring it. You look at it and say, okay, that's fine. You know, it'll be fixed. And you move on, and your day's frequency is much different. All it takes for any of us is just one little, little teeny pebble in our shoe that causes us to become irritated. And it shifts everything. When you begin to realize that you are the master and commander, you're the one that does all this, that creates, that manifests all these things. All of us. It's not like, oh, well, there's only a few people that can do that. That's just all crap. We all are omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die. We're master manifestors. It's what we do. It's not something that's really taught to us. It's inherent. Yeah, we have layers, like let's just call them blankets covering over things that, through this programming process in these lives, we bury them. They're there, but you can't see them because they're so well covered up. And then we begin to take one cover after another off. And then we discover our childlike curiosity, which we say that should be front and center. You remember when you were a kid? Remember how curious you were? We all were. You know, we didn't stick our heads in a mud hole till we were adults. We were curious. It's a good thing that we're curious. Yeah, in our society, some people say, well, that's being nosy. Not really. We're curious. We're just curious. We like to know things, you know. We like to find out things. We want to discover a lot of truths because within us we know that there are so many things that are not truths, that are deceptions. And that's part of our journey, this endless journey, this path that some of us believe, well, you know, I really messed it up, and, you know, you can't mess it up. And whatever you're experiencing it because you need to experience it. You created it for yourself to experience it, no matter what it is. Right? Now, as for instance, say somebody falls into drug dependency, right? One thing leads to another, and they're totally sucked into it. Could be pharmaceuticals, could be anything. These bodies are very sensitive. So and then that being, okay, good being, you know, this not one of these antagonists that tries to cause all kinds of confrontations and problems, but somebody who just is stuck in that stuff. Well, they created it. Why did they create that? For what purpose? What reason? To learn. To learn. Now, it doesn't mean that some of us will go so far that we leave the body. So then when we reincarnate again, we start over. But we're doing all this on this planet. We have forever. We create, we manifest, and it doesn't mean that we are aware. There's a lot of people that aren't even aware of that. And then they think it's some kind of a, you know, something brought that into their life, say. But actually they did. Now that doesn't mean that we also don't manifest things that are really not good, that we just don't really enjoy, okay? You might manifest a relationship, right? You might marry somebody and you go, holy cow, what was I thinking? You were manifesting, and then they were manifested. For what reason? To experience, whatever that may be, to experience. See, because we know all this is temporary. This is never forever. It's only short time. Comparatively speaking, right now it's like a blink. 90 years is like a blink. It's such a small amount of time. So what we do is that, you know, you're convinced. You start believing things. Well, you know, they lived a long life. They lived to be over 90, right? Until something changes, and all of a sudden you're 1,000 years old and you're young and vibrant. Or you're 10,000 years old and young and vibrant. The purpose of that for us, why are we creating that? Why do you think we're creating that? Because we are, collectively. We're creating it so that we have more time to discover who and what we are. Okay? We're creating it. We're creating longevity with these bodies. Makes sense, doesn't it? We've gotten to a comprehension where we know that we've got to stay in these bodies as long as we can to discover many things, because we are not going to continually reincarnate endlessly, start over every time. That's over. That's ending. Yeah, there's still people coming in, beings coming in that are reincarnating as I speak in this very now moment in hospitals across and midwives and other places that are birthing the baby. But we're doing this so that we have it. We hit it right in the bullseye. we finally are able to discover, uncover, and assimilate all of this information that has been there. We just never had the key to open it. And now we have the key. What's the key? Self-discovery, awareness, higher vibrational frequency. Doesn't it make a lot of sense that we maintain a higher vibrational frequency because we want to? Not because we have to, but because we want to. This is very enlightening. We're enlightened beings. Believe it or not, we're all enlightened. We just don't know it. And this comes along with our self-discovery of the gods that we are in these bodies, this pure consciousness, this cosmic awareness. And that cosmic awareness, that pure consciousness, like I've said, creates universes and planetary systems and pulsars and, suns going nova. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We create all this. It's a playground. That's what it is for us gods. And the playground, yeah, it's got, we experience and experience and experience. We create, we manifest and experience and create and manifest and experience. It's what we do. And the crucial thing about this, and when I say it every time in these meditations, be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. What does that do? You're focused on that and it increases your vibrational frequencies. You're not coming down on yourself or cutting yourself down, ridiculing yourself or calling yourself stupid or idiot or whatever. You're not doing that. You're loving yourself deeply and eternally. That's why you're gentle, generous, humble, kind with yourself at all times. You're not the other way, because when you do that, when any of us do it, we lower our vibrational frequency. And we know what that means, see? I believe that everybody that listens to these meditations on this planet knows what that means. They know. It's not like, oh, I'm going to lower my vibrational frequency today. That's silly. Most of us don't even know we're lowering our vibrational frequency because it's such a habit that we do in these lives. And believe me, we've had many of them. So when you stop yourself is what you do, because you begin to comprehend that I don't care to interact with my ego mind. Now, you're not leaving it alone, because then it becomes even more insecure. So it wants to be at peace. It wants to be at ease, at rest. So you give it love. You say, I love you, ego mind, but you're not in charge here. And you'd be amazed what happens when you do that from the heart mind. You don't do it from the head, then it's kind of like an argument. But you do it from the heart mind, and it's slowly but surely you will see that you will not have these bubble ups of ego mind influence. They'll get less and less. You still have them, but you start noticing that they're dissipating, that they're not prevalent like they used to be for years and years and years. Your responses are different to situations and other people, beings, and things that occur during the course of your day, your hour, your minute, your second. You look at it and view it differently. What am I learning from that, instead of, does that piss me off, right? What am I learning from it? What is this showing me? What is this showing me that I need to know now? And that's what this is all about. You see, our perspective and how we have been literally brainwashed into believing that, well, we're supposed to think a certain way, be a certain way, do things a certain way. This is how we're supposed to be. This is the uniformity of the social structure and the slave status of this planet. That's how we're supposed to be. Speak correctly. This is wrong. Don't speak this way. Speak this way. Who's telling you that? Society. Society is telling you that. And none of us believe in society. Those of us who are aware to a certain extent don't believe in society. We believe in ourselves. We love ourselves. And we're on this discovery, this road to discovery of the gods that we are in the body, the pure consciousness. Once that happens, you will have mastered your mind, your thoughts, and your ego mind. You will have mastered that. Okay? And the ego mind would be in the back seat, and you'd hear from it now and then, but mostly coming into peace, slowly but surely, and then eventually saying, I don't really need to be here anymore. I'm at peace, and it's gone. You see, then we are at peace with ourselves. We're within. Sure, we look at the material physical world, we look at it differently than we did before. It's like I said, we can go jump in the pool, have a good time, but yet we know we are not of it, say. So we get out, dry off, and walk along. Now, the rest of the people on this planet, they'll sit in that pool till their skin falls off. What is that pool? It's society. It's the rat race. And we don't do that because we've discovered that I don't really care to spend all of my time in this pool. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I like interacting, everything, but I'm having fun. Okay, I'm done for now, and I'm going to get out. And you want to go dip back in, then you go dip back in. You see the difference? But then you're watching others, and you're going, when are they going to ever get out of there? And you say to them, man, you look like a prune, literally. You're going to get out of there? Oh, no, it's wonderful in here. You see what I mean? Is it a negative? No, it's just their path of understanding, comprehension, that they're going to follow until it comes to a point where they're woken up. Okay? You remember when you woke up? You remember it was like a light, someone said, and all of a sudden, bingo, and everything started to shift and change. And then the stuff that you believed, you then started to question. And then you started discovering that stuff that you used to believe was programming. It was how you were taught, how you were guided. And that's what happens with us. And it's shifting. This planet's shifting. The vibrational frequencies are getting higher. This is why everything is in agitation. And it's right in front of you. So it's like, what do you mean it's shifting, it's changing? Just watch. It's everywhere. And all of us collectively are the ones that have engaged that evolutionary step. It's time for us to go into spirituality and to understand who and what we are, period. And by doing this, we go way beyond where we're at now. And then the new earth opens up. And all of this unbeknownst to many before, but now not, of all of these aids, these assistance technologies coming on, helping us get more and more in comprehension, and then eventually we will evolve past all of that. We won't need it. But see, to know that, like the pool, we use it, but we're not of it. Okay? We're not of it. So in the quiet time of this meditation, all of you have chosen your inner freedom. Or you wouldn't be in this meditation. You just wouldn't. And what does that mean? It means that you're aware enough, you comprehend enough about who and what you are, and you know what it means to you, it's all about you, increase your vibrational frequency. by choosing which direction you're going to go. And you know that this body you're in is highly emotional, highly sensitive, so you maneuver. And this is how we evolve in spirituality and discovering who and what we are within the body. Because it's all there. It's not like, well, Billy Bob is different than me because the way he looks on the outside. That has nothing to do with it. It's just another vessel carrying around a God to experience material physical life. But when you focus higher vibrational frequency, self-love, right? Loving yourself. We're not talking about ego-mind love. We're talking about heart-mind love. Okay? Caring for yourself, respecting yourself, loving yourself, nurturing yourself. These are all high vibrational frequency things. Those that abuse themselves and attack themselves are a much lower vibrational frequency. But in a quiet time, embrace you, the God that you are. Love you. Feel it. Open up. Let it in. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into the body. Focused on your breath rising and falling. Self-appreciation, self-acceptance, and self-approval are the essential building blocks of self-love. Practicing self-love helps you to feel like you're a worthy, valuable human being. Even if you get everything you want, or you don't receive anything you want, when you always love you, it doesn't matter so much what happens on the outside. You don't have to improve anything about you to deserve your dream life. You already deserve to receive whatever your heart desires because you are worthy of everything in this life exactly as you are. Life is really that beautiful. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, August 21, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening outside of you or within you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.